dominant of a match for Shopify Rebellion Black. If they're playing like that, it is going to be an easy shoe-in for a Dissension slot. And not really too much to say. So here's a little show and tell with our pets who also watch it. This is Leon.
This is Gaia. She actually doesn't want to say at all.
This Crumb. She's very hyped. She's very hyped.
This is our analysis of M80 versus Shopify Rebellion Black. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We got to bring some wholesome vibes back to the server because it was anything but on that first map of Fracture. That was a close match the last time those two teams faced off. And Dan, it was anything but the second time around.
I cannot believe it, but to be fair, we did warn you guys that last time the Shopify Rebellion Black played this map, it was a 13-3 against Blue Otter. So they were already showing signs that it was going to be such a dominant map. I gotta be honest though, I mean, you're going against M80, you think it's going to be a little closer. You look at the roster, we talked about the differences between the duelists and everything they could do, and it was just a Shopify Rebellion that was incredibly dominant. I mean, I know that some people were predicting them, but I don't think anybody was predicting at 13-1.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is that this is not what we thought it was going to be. We didn't expect it to be so dominant coming out from SRB, but they had a game plan and they were able to stick to it through and through throughout this entire matchup. I think you look towards the way that they were going for a lot of that map control with the combinations, as far as looking towards, you know, Monty being able to play off of the contact with Paint most often over towards that A main space, and they were just very consistently able to open up those rounds, not even give M80 that chance to even get started on their attacking half. And it all just like came together from there. They kept being dynamic with their setups off the back of the second time out, even that M80 throughout. That was the opportunity that they took to, okay, let's swap up our Sentinel setup. They ended up moving Pancakes from the B site over towards that A site, and then instead has Pain posted up towards B main there, and being able to catch M80 off guard in that kind of regard, and just continuing to be very dynamic with those shot plays.
You can see why Shopify Rebellion Black, despite the fact it was a decently close map the last time these two played, decided to pick this into an M80 that normally has had pretty decent performances on this map. First kills, the fact that M80 got 4 kind of even surprises me just with how dominant Shopify Rebellion Black seemed on this. But even when it came down to situations where they were outmatched, I mean, everyone across the server for Shopify Rebellion Black, Dan, was just shooting back, and just they really just looked like they could not be stopped no matter what M80 threw at them.
It was the 10 first kills as well that we see for Shopify Rebellion Black. And one of the points that we mentioned just a little bit was that Neon, right? What the Neon could do if the Neon from Paint was going to get stopped, if it was going to be a Neon that was just going to be able to run it down. And we see 5 first kills coming through for Paint. And I think everybody else was just stepping up. It's just it just seems like it's when you are simply having a good day for your team, everything is going right, you're getting the kills, you're fragging out at the synergy at some point. That seems like it's a day-to-day for Shopify Rebellion Black.
Yeah, and I mean, you even look towards, you were talking about some of those first bloods and whatnot, and that was something where Sato wasn't able to find any, and a lot of that just, again, happened to come down to, I think, the choke point control that Shopify Rebellion Black had. And then you even have, sure, we had opportunities where M80 were able to actually get a couple of those plants down on site when they were able to break through, or even double back after, you know, starting one site and looking for the rotation, hitting the opposite side of the map. But they had ideas there where we saw them even trying to like maybe push into spawn, try and deny some of that retake potential from SRB. But like Dan was saying, everything was going right for Shopify. Felt like they were getting every single trade. Their spacing was really nice, and they were just the better team in the server today. Sometimes it's that simple.
Yeah, and not even a question about it either. And there's a lot of talk about Paint, and Paint, especially on this pick, was definitely a really strong component to this win. But I want to talk about Monty a little bit too. There is a lot of talk from Vans and Tenric during the cast about this impact that Monty has had on the team. And it was something too that was really evident here, not just in the calling and what he was able to provide there, Dan, but when you're looking at just the kills, I mean, he was MVP of the match. He was putting up these multi-kills. Like, it was an impact in so many different ways, and really just cannot stress enough how amazing this team has looked since he's joined in. When the cards are stacked against him, having to IGL a different team so late in Swiss.
This is amazing. This is great for Monty, and it's also not something that is new. Throughout this playoffs and even before in the group stages, we were seeing these kind of performances from Monty, and we talk about it. How do you deal with the communication plus being able to frag out? And he makes it look always so simple. I love seeing this from him. When we just talked about the last match, I mean, last match, the Shopify Valorant Black played against Blue Otter. It was the exact same two maps that we're seeing for the Fracture. Then we're going into the split, and Monty just had great impact into allowing them to get this win. So it feels like today might be another one of those days for him.
Yeah, it's just been really nice. I think that you even look towards the fact that Monty has, very zero first engagement participation, zero first deaths, and first bloods. And it's because he's always constantly sitting back. And I think you can try and compare and contrast up against Caillou in some ways, where they are going to be like very locked in on that supportive role and not taking a lot of risks in the early round, so they can always be setting up their star duelists. And we're expecting them to reprise that breach again going into Split, our second map of the day. And I think that that is something that is going to be continuously dangerous, because if he's going to be able to continue forward with this type of performance and momentum in this best of three, this has a high chance of being a 2-0.
It was called at the beginning of the day that overall this seems like a very strong map pool for Shopify Rebellion Black. So even going into M80's pick, Ash, I am a little worried. When you're looking back at the history for M80, the last couple times of the loss, and for Shopify Rebellion Black, well, anything but. So does M80 have a different idea that they're coming into this with? Have they completely reworked it? I have so many questions.
I think the expectation is that we are going to see some comp changes coming in from M80, because the last time we saw them on Split up against Qbert Academy, that was still back when Oki was on the Yoru, and we had Weeded filling in that Teho role. So I do think that there probably will be a game plan change there. Wouldn't be surprised if we see actually Sato maybe heading into that raise. But honestly, I think something that I would kind of like to see is even maybe throwing Oki on the Yoru, having a double duelist composition. I want to see something that's going to enable M80 to feel really confident after this 13-1.
I know we're all a big fan of the double duelist. So let's go to the agent select to see if we're going to see the big switch up from M80 in this way. I love the call out for them to bring this out as well, considering you do have such a strong flex player that can go into that duelist role. And maybe this is just the confidence and that firepower they need to push back. But looking into it, no, all right. So, Dan, thoughts? Bao, Sage, we're going single duelist.
Right. So let's talk about the other side for Shopify Rebellion. We already talked about how strong they are. We talked about BCJ. He's going to continue playing on this Teho, and he's clearly gotten a very good understanding on how he wants to play on this map. I feel like there's a lot of little things that he has been able to exploit. Paint as well on the raise. I feel like that's his best agent that we've seen so far. But now let's go on to this side of M80. I do like the Astra for the post plan. It allows you to play a lot more for the team on the side of B-Dog. But Sage, I'm so hesitant about. How much variety can we see from Sage in the year 2025 on Split? That is what I want to find out. I hope that we see something new. I hope it's not just the wall mid that teams sometimes just like to bring, but it's just the one thing that you repeat over and over again. How are you going to play in the post plan? What are you going to be able to do early on? I don't love this composition because of the Sage, and I do still give the upper hand to Shopify Rebellion and what they've been playing before.
Yeah, I think the risk here too is that both these comps are they're very low information comps, right? It's going to rely a lot on, map control for the side of Shopify Rebellion Black with that double controller, looking towards Spaz to open up those lurk opportunities and just apply that general pressure over to M80. But when we're considering, I think the M80 comp that we've got going on here, although I am disappointed to see Oki not taking on the Yoru, he does look great on the Teho. I think it makes sense with the fact that they do have that Sage where we're looking for that creativity to come through. But the Teho pick paired with the Breach, I think, does also open up more of that stalling opportunity that M80 will be looking for, or even just starting out on the attacking side, clearing a lot of those angles out in mid. We see a lot of combinations for both B Heaven and Vents to open up this opportunity to split these sites.
What I think is interesting is this is actually the comp for M80 that Hubert Academy played up against them when M80 took one of those losses earlier in the Swiss stage. So clearly inspired. Let's see if they've been working on this and have what it takes to take us into a map 3, or if it's going to be Shopify Rebellion Black in 2 to find their way in our upper finals. Let's head back over to your casters, Tenric and Van Tilly, to find out.
Hey, Sierra. Well, this is where M80 wanted to go. Let's see what they have to say about it. Sage and Astra to facilitate the bringing in onto site, and then the breach raise Tejo to crack it back out. Vans, we've heard this all before, but the question is, does M80 actually have what it takes to beat the Shopify Rebellion Black squad right now?
I like to say so, since they came out with this composition, right? And as Sierra mentioned, they got the real taste of it when they played against Hubert Academy, who also inspired their composition from 100 Thieves, who brought it out towards the VCTs. But the Sage in itself is more than just a standard wall towards mid now in the early or in the later days now of Valorant. It's a good counter into the explosiveness of what the Raze could bring with the double initiator, right? So trying to split their aggression and try to fight through that is probably going to be the name of the game, but that will be once they take the defensive side. The attack side starts first with a fight towards the A site.
Yeah, big old clump in front of the lobby, and Paint's only good for 1. Now we'll try and press on top of that. It's Bao on the front lines to grab a second pick for M80's favor. Shopify still heavy presence up on Heaven, but you can tell that Spaz is starting to panic a little bit until Pancakes fully covers mid, which now he has. So now you can coalesce back on this tower and take some control back. M80 understand the time that's on their hands, and so they'll head down the main pathway for A. While B-Dog continues this lurk check all the way back on the mid-watch. Oh, and it might come to fruition.
Should be a wall back towards the spawn because it's still up here for Bao. It's going to be a swing through the smoke.
Oh, Monsi still finds Okeanos. Even after that shot, and it'll all come crumbling down. M80, they have to keep sending more forces into this Greens push, and it's just going to come up short. B-Dog's wraparound finally coming through, but to what effect? We're so far out. You've got to use these stars so early. Nova Pulse on top of the gravity well. It's body blocked and sprayed through by B-Dog, who makes it work for M80. What a clutch!
Come on now. I'm anticipating my
Through a smoke as well. That is a type of clutch you need for M80 to start the gears rolling. Because if not, that was probably going to be an SRB quick finish in the second map as well. Because you saw that M80 had a written plan in the pulse plan to try to go for the trap. The fault line didn't reach towards the right spot. So not too many players of SRB were actually stunned by the fault line trap play. And then Bao could never use his wall. So look at that. They're trying to body block for the defuse. You concuss onto the suck, so they go right into the star, the star that you place down. So you just, it's a little bit of a cheat sheet, I guess, where you don't really need a ping inside that smoke because you can't anymore anyways. But knowing where you place that star, and they're going to be right in the middle of that grab well, it allowed your B-Dog to get that clutch. And that's what they desperately needed here on the attack side, at least to start, or what they desperately needed, period, for M80. But here's a trap play on middle.
And that razor-thin round could lead to huge dividends here for M80. They just have to collect. Shopify Rebellion's going to get aggressive. It's going to be mid, their choice. And it'll mainly come up for Oki. Grab 2 and send this stealth drone to continue fielding Monsi away, who is just going to continue trying to stave this M80 squad as often as possible so that the rest of Shopify can prepare for recovery. His name is Pancakes, and he's now dead. So this should be a pretty clean 2-0 from here.
Yeah, you can look at the buy from M80. They just wanted to make sure that they capitalize on a victory, and I love that as you're moving in a very strong buy with bulldogs and rifles, that you really try to press forward and fight. While the one that does have the pistol here for B-Dog was going to be, you know, the late lurk, saving grace kind of thing, and trying to prod around the map. SRB tried to go for that trap play on the surprise with the smoke dissipating towards middle, but instead of going for a fault line, they went for the aftershock outside instead, which allowed here the backup coming through from M80. So they weren't affected by it. They could stay further out. Okeanos swings out to get 2 nice kills with the Bulldog, and it's a clean conversion in the anti-eco, and that's what you want as well. So 2 clean rounds and a third off. Oh my God, no way. The fault line, and you still get the headshot from Paint.
Tries to get the drop on that, and now BCJ has come in to support with the salvos. It's only B-Dog who's in the kill feed right now for M80 with this Bucky now picking up a rifle, escaping into vent. So Shopify still have to give all of this space away, even though it's a positive trade. And you're in the bonus. Anything that M80 can get away with, they'll take. They'd love to just springboard this all the way into a winning streak. They're pretty close to it as is. Caillou already creeping out the garage. Smoke plays to try to deter him, and M80 is a little bit stalled at the moment, but 60 seconds to go. You can play a little slow, but B-Dog steps into the sun, forcing Okeanos to go into the trade war that he will inevitably lose because there's more Shopify Rebellion here. They will take a third round.
Just getting that smoke towards B main really didn't allow for M80 to get the real crunch into that B site. Not too bad, though, because it was a bonus round attempted by M80. I mean, the play was there, but it's easily read by Shopify Rebellion Black. All Payne had to do was just set his crosshair, wait for the satchels to come across. I mean, he's playing Raze himself, so he knows the pathing. He knows where Sato is going to land. Look at that. It was just instant. An easy headshot coming through, and very hard right after that into the mid-ground to overtake the site when you don't have really smokers to work with anymore because of the salvos dropping another player towards mid. Can't wall cross, but here's a big gun round from both sides.
This is the first big pivotal round here for side for M80, how far they can get off of this new comp. Just searching for something at the moment while Shopify runs that orb dry and sees if they can psych themselves out.
At least for M80, it's a slower pace. They're just trying to make sure that they cycle out the fuel from SRB, the smoke's coming out from the Omen, and as they went from smoke to fuel to another smoke, well, you know that there's not enough here to hold the defensive line right after on middle, so SRB has to turtle up a little bit more. And he gambled to stack towards the B site because of how M80's been trying to finish in that bonus round that they had. But the call is actually better from Caillou now. They've chosen the weaker side, but they've also chosen a side where Paint on the weak side has a showstopper to work with.
An easy cover to duck behind with BCJ ready to provide cover fire. He's a bit far away. He's more prepared for the tower
30
push. And
seconds
no one is
left.
there at the moment. It's once again all down this main line, and Pain immediately upon seeing the body activates the showstopper to deal with it. It's Sato. That's the first blood, and BCJ spraying through that wall to deal with whoever's trying to get in front of it. It's Caillou. That's the next victim. Someone tries to pick up the spike. They will fall next, and Shopify's laundry list will get checked off tick by tick by tick. 10 seconds to go. And that'll be the end of it here for Shopify, inevitably grabbing their second round, provided that nobody goes crazy, goes stupid here. No, they'll instead just hold on to these rifles.
And they might crunch into them. Just try to eliminate these guns, and instantly they both fall, both of them backstab, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure if there was a missed smoke or they didn't have a second smoke available on that actual hit here from B-Dog, and that's a difficult portion of it, right? If you're going to try to move in towards a site where you're playing single controller, but you're already using it to, let's say, smoke vents or something, then you didn't have that smoke coming out towards screens, and it was an easy kill from BCJ, who just stayed out in the open after he had counter utils coming out from Shopify Rebellion. So it starts with this. I do like at least that you have your duelist trying to be selfless to force out the showstopper so the rest can scale behind. But then the defensive Viper wall made it even more difficult for you to run through. And that's just a nice little reaction coming out from Shopify Rebellion, and puts now M80 into a full eco. Make that even a Shiko. All five of them with Sheriff trying to work up together towards the A site. Should get scouted here by BCJ as he's forced out of his drone because of the salvos.
Monsi will take his place, though, quickly after and start checking this Nebula bullet by bullet. Good for the early. But M80 still want to extend, so they'll burn a little bit and now turn a lot. Head back down to A site and grab a decent chunk of space with the help of these Nebulas that B-Dog is now able to place down.
Spike planted.
Try to see if they could play any type of delays. I mean, they still have the Astra and the Tejo, so that's the most important thing for M80. So they're playing so far back on the ramp. We've seen this happen before. You're playing so far back, you're trying to play delays, open site. Look at SRB just staying all together and flooding out towards the screens.
And they can just chip apart each player that tries to approach this piece by piece. Bao does spot Spaz on the wrap back, so now you can get a little more aggressive with it. Okeanos' salvos covering the spike plant, and that'll make SRB disperse again. Armageddon on spike is next, and we're continuing to toss util on and trading this away. It's now M80, that's the stack, and Bao that comes away as the round's premier killer. 2-3.
Yeah, but
Oh, the diffuse
Shopify
still
still
went
got
off?
the diffuse.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's the thing. It's you're trying to delay a lot, right? You went with the salvos, which got the kill, but they already got the diffuse halfway for Shopify Rebellion Black. So as soon as the Armageddon comes out, and it was too shallow, because at the first ping as it comes through, then it's already gone. The other person could just run behind the Armageddon and just start defusing, and they smoke themselves out, and nobody could get through the defuse because we delayed towards the back lines in the vents. Even though that death came through there from Spaz, it was still around. But we'll hold that thought. There's a huge push coming in towards B main. And here's the bloodbath coming on both sides.
Sato getting a couple excuses to be aggressive out the gate there. And, I mean, with the way that Shopify Rebellion has just been able to double down on every one of their plays here, even when M80 comes in with all of their firepower, they still question themselves, and they still have to sacrifice Sato to this potential op that Pancakes is now just shuffling between casually. Rez used up on top of Rolling Thunder. Pancakes chipped away at as he TPs back, but still all that clearing work has to be done. Sato will use his own showstopper and grab that revenge kill as M80 have this time more than enough to get onto site and grab a clean win, tying us back up.
Yeah, just unlucky on the first death there from Pain. I think that went through smokes into the front, but then another one getting caught by an aftershock on the XQ. That was a little bit more questionable because Shopify Rebellion Black at least had good util to stall the first Rolling Thunder coming out here from the attack side of Caillou. And then after that, though, because the other person got picked off by the showstopper, there wasn't anybody on Heaven to try to set up the crossfire setup on the showstopper coming in from Sato. So small mistakes getting caught off util for Shopify Rebellion, but that's exactly what you need here for for M80, sorry, to keep this game close. And as you see already, Shopify Rebellion activating towards the A main. They know there's no pressure coming through with the stars already placed down, so that the action should be contained towards this B side. So Spaz has to be a little bit more careful here. They'll try to funnel. He has the snake bite to work with as well to delay. Here's B-Dog. Wait.
Oh, this is a big blunder from Paint. Now BCJ has to try and pick up the pieces, B-Dog! And used an Armageddon on top of that too! What a waste to try and get one man who still is standing, and the rest of M80 come up just about as well.
Oh, that's 2 rounds in a row that we've had blunders actually for Shopify. Again, the previous round where Paint got picked off was accidental, that's fine. But getting picked off by an aftershock, and then secondly, you had to play to close the gap with the satchels to try to take down B-Dog inside the attacker spawn, and you didn't get enough momentum where you just couldn't push confidently because you don't know how many players are around that corner when B-Dog falls back, so you're a little bit hesitant. And then you're trying to combine that with the Armageddon, and everything just gets convoluted through the conversation and the communication that B-Dog was just able to punish those 2 players out towards the A main. And that breaks the economy on the side of Shopify Rebellion. So M80 has now a great gap that they could take advantage of, so they could start rolling in here and trying to get the victory of the first half.
Yeah, I mean, that round was the projected in for whichever team won it, and M80 was the team that could profit even heavier because Shopify are the ones with all of these other tools that they're now waiting to be able to springboard off of. You can at least have a couple rounds where you're in control, at least if Pancakes doesn't hit a shot. He will not. Bao stands strong still, and M80 letting the fight come to them a little bit here.
Yeah, just trying to go for just some sort of early fault line peek out. Not really a huge trap play coming through for Shopify Rebellion. Again, they won the first map 13-1, so you could definitely trust your aim to make sure that, you know, you're confident enough to go for that swing and try to get your one. But it's won by M80. Bao still got that kill while being full stunned, by the way, so he gets a little bit of a revenge for his teammate. Now here comes the actual hit from M80 with the Cosmic Divide, so investing a lot here just to try to capitalize on the round.
Shopify is very close to it, despite how much M80 is throwing to him. Gotta respect this Shiko.
One enemy remaining.
Has now evolved just a little bit. Spaz, predictable position with the gun pickup. Easy spray down. And that was probably your last chance in this round. BCJ will still trollops his way here. See if he can find someone wandering.
Right there.
This will be a
No
good
way.
salvo.
No way.
Okay.
One enemy
That's
No
remaining.
way.
two.
No, he's gonna stick this. There's no
Your
stars.
half? No stars? Does B-Dog get there? Oh,
Oh
my
my
god, just
God.
barely. Second round in a row, he's got to do that thing, or it's not in a row, but in the game that he's
Yeah.
had to clutch up like that.
2 hero plays
Wow.
coming out from B-Dog for sure in this first half. I wouldn't be surprised if even if the timeout comes out for M80 if they won the round, but it's going to be for Shopfire Rebellion Black instead, so called out by Vapin. That said, though, that was looking ultra scary. And again, just maybe a lack of communication to say, oh, wait, what are we going to do here that the Salver's coming down? And he kind of just peeked out one by one instead of just going for the wide swing. There was no escape. I guess they were trying to look down to see, wait, is there a gap that we could just wait in? And after they realized that there wasn't, it's like, oh, wait, floor is lava. They had to go through, and you almost saw the clutch coming out from BCJ. And again, just to talk about how BCJ was able to elevate his decision-making, the numbers that he's able to put up here, since he didn't have to become the IGL or be the IGL anymore for Shopfire Rebellion Black. It's really nice to see how complete the Shopfire Rebellion team is, but you can only have so many hero plays left now for M80. It's now time to take advantage of the timeout called out by Shopfire Rebellion Black so that you could hopefully have better control of your post plans. Because so far they've been really good, right? Tenric using the Sage on Sage walls towards crosses, towards blocking pass in the post plans allows for them to get into good spots, but it really always cuts down to the wire.
Yeah, they have done a lot of good prep for whatever coverage M80 offers, and even still M80, or excuse me, Shopify are just that good at being able to still get their kills on the way down, even when M80 has them fully red. Spaz will use his pit in mid this round, so M80 gonna go window shopping for a little bit. B-Dog hanging outside his smoke in the A lobby, which is where the stack will head to first.
Surprised too, we didn't try to go for a boom bot outside the util, inside the pit, just to try to make sure we confirm that there's nobody inside there, so we could maybe get Spaz away from it. But
Yo!
yeah, that was nice. That was nice. That was unattended for, and an advantage coming out for M80.
Wow, great timing that B-Dog can catch.
Spike planted.
And yeah, that is a free sight. No full shuffle for Shopify either. You've got to clear so much of this without throwing util down.
It's pistol round again. This time the full leg will hit.
Now B-Dog has every excuse to just get in front of this and keep the hold down. Zokianos and Sato are holding down the screen push now. Everything looks pretty much covered here. This should be
One
good.
enemy remaining.
Run into the Sage wall. Bow's got you corralled.
I love it. They jumped down to make some noise to be like, oh, wait, we don't have time anymore. Let's go back and wait. There's a wall we have to break. Then you just have Bao move through and get the backstab. And again, I think that's a nice little shout, at least to what Ash was mentioning before, where you're looking at the composition of both of these teams. You're kind of starved for information. So that wall kind of looked like weird because, you know, they could just jump over it. But by jumping over it and landing down, it does give the audio cue of where Bao's position is. And he's like, okay, I could find a timing to go for a backstab. And so they cover both extremities. You already see from the setup, the idea wasn't really to try to go for early heaven control. It's just to react right after. Because look at their positions here off the replay. If they already dropped down and missed on the timing, well, they could start moving back towards this, towards heaven. The fault line's going to go heaven instead, and then you could just play the post plant from the top. It's still really nice to see how they're ironed out a little bit the approach of how they want to play the post plant with the Sage in their composition.
What you were hoping for when you walked into this map after M80's previous finishes on it. And especially after that last map, just making sure that this team is not completely boomed.
Poison's off.
Shopify, for that matter, they haven't exactly gotten impatient yet. They're continuing to play as respectful as they need to, but yeah, Paint's gotten just a tad less aggressive in these past few rounds. I'm sure that'll change when the sides swap, though.
And they pinged it right here. So the drone just came out on the side of BCJ at the minute mark. They've avoided it all. They said, okay, well, the ping's there. And again, Shopify Rebellion, after the drone sees nothing, look at the minimap. Everybody's jump peeking, jiggle peeking, and about to get caught. And BCJ just got spotted. He falls back and tries to delay as much as he could and still gets one somehow.
I'm amazed that he dares to peek onto B-Dog like that, but yeah, that's all he'll get off of that. Okeanos just continuing to roam and grab the kills on sight that everyone else for M80 was looking for, and now Caillou will find. So no one else from Shopify finds as much purchase. In fact, Bao with the res will make this back into a 5-1, now a 5-0.
Sorry, Mom.
And M80 will get to 7 here on the attack.
And a small W to force out the res, because now you do have more economy in terms of ults on the side of Shopify Rebellion Black. Yes, you are one away from 2 very strong ults on Okeanos and Sato, but you definitely could draw the plan that we've seen on the first map of Fracture, where they didn't really allow M80 to really set up to try to get any of that map control or orb control to get these ults up. You already see the pings coming out towards the front of the garage or even towards orange on that B site before we get into this replay. So they potentially read this lean towards the B side to try to get some action done. The smoke already comes out very early. They have trap plays with the double initiator on middle.
Gonna flood these vents. They've done this before, but Sato has not been multitasking nearly as well as he is this round for it. Avoids the stun as well. Good response time with that blast pack, but it's not pushed upon. And now Bao's lurk has been caught, so we're back to a 4v4 with M80 not making too much headway just yet.
Yeah, and looks like it was a missed time. They didn't expect just to walk up through the util, through the smoke from Sato, because the Armageddon was destined for Ramen, just like a TSM type of style that that Vora has done quite earlier on in this Swiss stage to try to trap some players in the back. But then they lose Monsi. There's no Rolling Thunder either. So this is great now for M80 to score the 8th round, potentially. They have now the Showstopper and the Rolling Thunder on their side to overtake A.
Yeah, easy ways in to just shout a little bit louder than the opponent. Spaz, trigger discipline to catch anyone who isn't Sato, who, by the way, did catch Paint on site, so he's just going to go a bit farther. Showstopper a little too aggressive with it, and it glides right past Pancakes, who wins the duel. That is a tragic Rosa that B-Dog now has to recover for. It does have Spike and a free B site, but 15 seconds too. He's got to give away the noise early.
And thankfully, he's going to be able to
10
plat because there's
seconds
no salvos available for BCJ. He's used it to delay towards the A side. But they are closing that gap. He hears at least where BCJ is coming from and now knows where the paranoia is coming from, and BCJ catches him. So very nicely done by Shopify Rebellion in the communication through the chaos to get that round. But I was questioning, yeah, it's not only on necessarily the Rosa ult towards that side on the site, because Sato was just trying to get some information and try to catch Pancakes, but it's more on the fight. They knew that the Viper was on the top of the ramp. They stunned him with the Tejo, but instead they focused on grabbing the orb instead of trying to swing up to confirm the kill, or at least try to go for the trade to give a chance for you know, B-Dog to have a teammate to work with in potentially a 2v2. So that was a little bit questionable, where again you had such a strong advantage in the at the very beginning of the round here for M80, but that is the first fumble that might be costly on the side of M80 now.
The tale of M80's tape this entire game has been, if you see a chance and take it, you'll win more often than not. And these moments where M80 is just not fully committing to the bit leads them to be horrible improvisers for this post plant that Shopify are going to try and claw back at for a 5-7 half. Still, B-Stack a lot weaker than M80's looks towards it. They're not going to make it look it that way, and still have to waste quite a bit of time, but what a surprise that Tejo salvos are out to the backside again, and Pancakes is going to safely avoid those.
This should be a we can't play B site execution for M80 because of the amount of ults that are coming up for M80, or for SRB rather. Here's the Armageddon. Rolling Thunder should be coming in.
Cosmic Divide as well, and we'll just jump right in. Rolling Thunder on top of it, but it's after Sato's in. We can just spray through. We get absolutely nowhere off of this. Paint's just now looking for whatever inside, but that's swiftly dealt with. So, no ultimates now for either side. We've already run through them all, and we're still not on site yet, so let's fix that. Fault line onto Monsi for him to back out a little harder, and the salvos to fully flush him away. Good for a one-for-one trade on top of the Sage Wall, but Caillou using those peaks above it to his advantage for 2. Nice weave into the monkey bars there, buddy. BCJ the only one left.
Spike planted.
Yeah, both teams are kind of hesitant because of the ults too. They're trying to force out the ults on the attack side with the first Cosmic Divide and Armageddon, but SRB never bit to the fake. Now he comes back to the funnies after the ults are gone, and a huge advantage out for M80.
There's your first. He's done that before. Sage Wall about to expire now, and he's ready to swing! So is M80, though. And it will be an 8-4 half for the attack. Impressive, but not at any point completely safe, fans. This is still as close a game as can be.
Agreed. But at least you look at it from the side of this half, you're definitely grateful and breathing a little bit better for M80 side, knowing that you got thrashed on the first map of 13-1. You're not going into your map pick where you had no good success with previous compositions on the Yoru Dub controller and double initiator. So you're like, okay, well, let's try to pull out that 100 Thieves / Qbert Academy / I think even Sentinels use it at some point composition. And then they're like, okay, well, we got an 8-point lead on our defensive side. You have to breathe a sigh of relief to know that you could probably close this off here on the second map.
And not too far away, and getting another pistol here would do you so much more. Who do you run into first on it but B-Dog? Gravity Well used very proactively, but Pancakes can just TP past it, and he'll be the first to lob some fire at a Shopify or at an M80 that'll just have to duck back. Big stack.
Spike planted.
Still gets spiked down. Head back, bait for Pancakes. Nothing doing. Now Paint's got to fight it too, and he's the only one who's found anything here for Shopify Rebellion so far. Good thing he's found a little bit more, and now PCJ is in on the action as well. 2v2, we're back to it, aren't we?
Yep. And the more they wait here, BCJ is going to have his salvos as well. So look at how smart Paint's playing. Using the Paint shells. He's the first piece of util. Now you're falling back. You're 0.6 seconds. The salvos are ready. And this should be a confirmation for a Shopify round. That was a very nice 2v2 towards the end. Again, it goes back, Tenrek, to what we mentioned before.
One enemy remaining.
Wait.
One enemy remaining.
Okay. So it goes back to what we mentioned before. That the piss around on Fracture was actually quite nice from both of the teams on how you react off the information that you have. So with the lurk wall that Shopify Rebellion used and still walked 5 players into the site for the plant, and realizing here that M80 is playing the retake, they wanted to try to push towards a spawn to try to go for a potential triple swing flash to fight towards the spawn. But as soon as it was spotted by Caillou, who expected that push, they had to fall back. And when they fall back, you see M80 crunch back and get at least the forefront of the victories of these duels. But to have it come down to a 2v2 and then a 1v1 like that, that was a little bit stressful towards the end here for M80.
Yeah, again, it's such a multifaceted, multi-staged battle that Shopify Rebellion still somehow find a way to edge out at the end of the day. And they'll try to do it again with this follow-up. B-Dog making enough space to at least get this orb. And we have gone 1 for 1 here up at the scuffle that took place here in mid to start. But that just leaves them maybe a little sparser and more keen to just press that stack on mid rather than approach any site that Shopify is. Luckily, a little too much noise made over in B, so they'll get coaxed out for now.
Just heard the Bulldog pick up too, so they know that there's at least 1-2 players on middle. But that said, the idea for M80 was just trying to starve the ult orbs away from the side of Shopify Rebellion Black. It worked out because you're still able to escape, but at low HP with a shorty here for B-Dog. And then it makes your HP a lot weaker to try to anchor up towards the site. So SRB might still be able to get those ult orbs by getting these kills.
Well, it'll start by Spaz dropping onto the site. He doesn't find anything. Monty's about to head into this shorty peek from B-Dog, who gets his, as does everybody else for M80, huh?
Yeah.
That was sudden.
Yep. Gonna have to look back at that replay because everybody instantly died for Shopify Rebellion. I was gonna say you had so many players low on HP. B-Dog was holding towards B-Main with the short at 34 HP. I think Sant was also there at low HP. But the rifle that he picked up here for Okeanos scored big on the side of M80. 2 kills with the Bulldog, 3 overall in the round with the jump click classic just to kick things off. And look at that, beautiful holds towards the end. You just had to win your duels, and that they did for M80. Pure rifle though for Paint. Phantom as the rest are around short classics and a shorty. They TP for aggression, but unfortunately not enough.
Trying to breach that wall and bow it, but now he's got help, and it's Sato that Paint sprays onto and still doesn't get punished. So they will be able to grab their own first pick, but again, that doesn't mean any headway on either of these sites. Everyone's just been watching to make sure that no one from M80 goes for the wrap. I got a full stack here on a B site though. You have the wall for condition. So you can time this really however you want to, despite the gun diff. Really helpful to at least get this spike down, get those extra creds.
Just a piss around strat, but BCJ's lagging behind. And that's a little bit of a miscomm because now the wall's down, Slorbs slows him. Somehow he still crosses over. He's still able to cross over and get the plan after all. Well, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Devil's a stall him out, but M80's still not playing to fight on top of it. Salvo's on the tower, but
Spike planted.
Shopify are not going to fight on top of that. They are going to prepare to fight directly after, though, with 2 players getting right under this tower. Okeanos first peek out, and M80's paying attention. Okeanos is lit up. Paint, though, good flicks to keep it steady before M80 has 2 people still alive and making it a 10-5 game.
10-5 game. The attempt here with the hero rifle to get 2 kills shouldn't damage M80 that much because they did reply with their thrifty on that second round. So the money should still be good on the defense with that retake, despite the amount of players that they lost in the process. Thankfully, though, the silver lining for Shopify is they do have the showstopper to work with to potentially try to open up the site. Maybe one of those trap plays to try to get into the heaven. And that's what I was talking about too. The Sage pick to try to block the aggression coming out. It's not a let's just wall immediately when the barriers come up, because that could get broken off right away. But you react on the sounds that you hear. So the first satchel comes across, he throws that wall off, and then boom, Paint just runs into a wall, and it makes it easier for M80 to isolate Pancakes who's trying to TP up. So that's what I was trying to say here with the Sage pick. That looks a little bit old and odd in this type of comp, but you now have the versatility of playing her walls a little bit differently on a map that hasn't changed too much since the last iteration.
Yeah, seeing her play those walls like that is fun as ever. We'll place his down immediately this time on a main to force at least somebody from Shopify to pay some extra attention to it, maybe lose a duel if M80 wants to get in front of it, which they're going to send a drone out just to see if anybody decided to go into the stack. They quickly realize it's not, especially since the rest of Shopify have started to make some noise on these other ends, but nothing decisive until now. Up we head to the tower and getting flushed out. Bao still finds the kill and gets in front of the paint shells to stay alive for just a little bit longer. I don't know how the shell still finds him there, but it does, and Paint's not done. Gets one more as M80 extend onto site.
30 seconds left. One enemy remaining.
Now another from Paint. That is unbelievable.
And that's just unlucky. It looked like a moment where Sato's position was good, but I think it was a moment where he was looking at his minimap in a split second and the swing came out. I love the interesting approach, though. When they started with double initiator using util towards this B side and pop off the showstopper, but the showstopper was just walking up towards middle with the other 2 players. So they were expecting somehow that the players from M80 would fall away from the aggression coming out from the fake of a showstopper coming in towards main, and it would fall back towards male or go for a faster rotate from A heaven over towards that B site where the showstopper could get a lot of value. But instead, it fizzled, but not this round. We're pushing through with the kill. This is a nice little 100 Thieves play that works out for a double kill for Sato.
Yeah, that's the kind of round that Sato is really excited for. And it's good to see him working magic a little bit this time around. We'll see if it's enough. Spaz does get away with the peek, so he's taken tower away from B-Dog, who will be placated a little bit longer as Shopify try to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
A distraction dance that will net 2 more players at least from M80. So all of a sudden, Paint's got his pick of the litter with where he goes after this wall goes bye-bye.
And that's all they have to wait for. So it gives me a chance to continue to talk about that previous round, though, with the showstopper walking up towards middle. So even though it doesn't get any kills, he doesn't shoot it so that they don't want to give a tell of where they're creeping up towards you. So they went for the contact play on top of B Heaven, went for trades, and it turned out nice towards the end on how they fought inside that site. That said, though, M80 going into this round, they had a very nice hold here at the very beginning with their trap play towards B main. Now there might be a timing, though, for Shopify.
Right there.
Just got
30
pinged out.
seconds left.
Immediately fault line, Okeano steps out and grabs his. So 2v3, M80 have still just been more ready to, hold on to the site, and it'll completely work out for them. A Rolling Thunder that will not affect M80 whatsoever.
Right, guarantees the plan, but it does also give the tell that they were committing towards the B site, so the gap is closed a lot more quickly for M80, so they have more time to work with for the retake. It's just going to take a little bit longer to re-clear towards middle first, which is the responsibility of B-Dog. But once that's clear and the fault line should be ready by then, they still have a slow orb and an aftershock. Should be able to explode back into the B-side retake.
Staying meticulous, but the toxic screen is the obvious culprit of where this fight's going to end up. Snakebite ties from outside of it to start it early for Spaz and Monsi, and they'll find a first. Now they're launching their own util at the problem, and it's Spaz to come up with the majority of it, but Bao stays alive just long enough, but is the spike given the same amount of time? Yes, indeed it is. M80
Very
once
close.
again carry on, and they're 2 rounds out from taking us to 3.
Very, very close, and I like at least the respect here from both breaches to find the right timing to use the aftershocks, and cutting it very close, though, from the side of M80. A little bit of a split second more on the side of Shopify Rebellion on how quickly they could have gotten that aftershock out. That could have been a round going through already for the side of Shopify Rebellion Black to try to scale back on the retake, but you saw that we saw this play in the VCTs, right? The fault line, the slows coming in from the top of rafters, as well as a salvo to allow the double satchel to move forward and get some kills. Stolen strictly from 100 Thieves, and it pays off, rather.
Now we'll see Sato get on top of this wall a little early, and it'll lead to an opener that Bao will quickly resuscitate. They're trying to burn down the wall before Sato can get revived, but it's too late. Salvos will try to get rid of those guard dogs too, but still, it's such an investment that leads to not too much at all.
And losing a player early like that, and that's your duelist. So your explosion into the site with the satchels are not going to work out too much, but I like this idea. Or to cross over instead because you're using a Viper Wall anyways for a B-side lurk. Now you can meet up together and try to maybe catch some players off guard when you don't have that information in the mid-round for M80 now. So again, similar situation on their defense. They're going to have to body peek. They're going to have to jump peek. This is going to get heard now as they're on top of Heaven for SRB, and they hear the jump spotting out from Caillou out towards screens. So they're finding the right timing. They know that it should be weaker towards the A site because they're playing off-site with the jump spotting from M80. So an opportunity now for Shopify Rebellion to just explode.
It's going to get scrappy in a perfect world on Shopify's terms, but Caillou still gets a kill in the early parts of it, and Okeanos only had to worry about an inch of that Armageddon before he could start getting active again. Monty will at least punish him staying around, and Spaz finds Sato, but there's no time on site here, and so M80, they're just going to bunker up on it. Monty has to go for this plant, and there's players right in front of him. Spaz hit, and the double swing is perfectly timed by M80. Another great interception that'll get them 1 round away from game point.
Didn't expect the Armageddon to come out from the back of the A site either when he finally started to commit into this A site hit. And somehow Cosmetics continues. I think Okeanos was stunned in the back of that A site, hit by a fault line by Monsi, yet he still gets that pick onto Pancakes, but an easier kill because Pancakes TP down. So you just got to get your crosshair ready and boop, pops him as soon as he comes out of the TP. And that forces now the first timeout from Shopify Rebellion Black. Actually quite interesting that both of the timeouts were used earlier on for M80's side for them to take this lead. And finally, Shopify Rebellion are calling their first timeout now that they're backs against the wall with the M80 at that point.
Yeah, this is
One enemy
definitely a little late, even still, but when they feel like they had such a structure for so many of these rounds, and M80 keeps pulling back. And I mean, if it continues to be this close, I understand Shopify's reasoning that, you know, we're not necessarily stopping any momentum. I think, you know, the other guys are breathing just as heavily as we are at the moment. just comes down to refreshing at this point and cleaning up, coming away with the majority of these picks like they did so frequently on Fracture.
Try to sell a fake, seems like, on this A side.
All missiles away.
So moving forward, the pit's on that side as well. But as they make a lot of noise, it's actually being aggressed by M80 first. So those two players towards B main can't really start moving forward yet, because they still need Shopify Rebellion to push back the double initiator towards this A site, but it's the Rolling Thunder picked up by M80. That could stall a second wave attempt from Shopify Rebellion to sell this fake.
Yeah, Okeanos can play as far back as he wants to. Cosmic Divide into the Rolling Thunder so early on top of this. Attempted gravity well to stop the push here from Paint, but B-Dog still catches Monsi before these other two get on, and the TP is here to make sure that Shopify have, again, some semblance of structure, but M80, as this Cosmic Divide goes down, they are on top of this. They are ready to go whenever they choose to start fighting, and it'll be off of Sato's Showstopper. Bao enters first, easy pickoff. Paint still with this shotgun, has to play close and gets only one. Sato still hunting with this Showstopper in the garage, and Spaz is able to avoid it, but these two players are on such low health and have so much more ground to make back up to even get close to this spike. BCJ on a crumb of health, and he's found the perfect moment to catch Sato before Caillou turns back and grabs him. And it's simply too much for Shopify Rebellion Black this time around. M80's split looks as clean as we hoped it would once they picked it, and we will go to 3.
And a great answer back from M80 in that second half. I thought it was going to be a done deal as soon as we saw that pistol round happen on the side of Shopify Rebellion Black. A conversion, I think, of a 2 versus 4 that was won by Shopify. But then the eco that came through on that second round really started to get the ball rolling here for M80. So props to the confidence and the resiliency coming out on the side of M80 to push this into a third map. We mentioned before, this is still going to be a very difficult map for M80 to play in this third one because of the results that Shopify has gone through in the past, including one against Core in overtime, where it's been Core's best map before. So now it's going to be the battle of the duelists. We'll have to see what happens now on that third map, because it might be a Jet versus a Neon in this tiebreaker.
And we'll see if that persistence develops into endurance. Haven is your map 3, and we'll be back with it after the break.
Well, it's insanely different. The competition like rose triple. I feel like that we've only been together for like a month, and that's like as soon as Premier's like playoffs started, we won it, and we were just in Challengers, so we only had a month to prepare. Like the level of difficulty is a lot different. Like it's so much harder to get kills, and like the whole entire objective of the game changes. But our first week against M80, it was a lot harder, I would say, because it was nerves and everything. But our second week against Blue Water, I would say that it was a lot closer. And that short amount of span, I think we got a lot better. So this week against Ambrosia, we're hoping to turn that around. Key factors. So the key factors to the team's success is just not making any mistakes, but also just working together as a team and keeping our communications really good, because I feel like that's one of our most lackluster like features as a team. But besides that, we just need to make less mistakes, and I think start with these games. Well, you can expect from me. My name is Abu2 for some reason, but it was changed to Demi recently. you can expect from me that I'm gonna keep playing. Last week I had a really good game against Blue Water. I'm planning to keep riding momentum. I've had a change in my role a little bit. And then for the team, just don't count us out yet. We're getting a lot better every week. And against Ambrosia, we're hoping to win out because we got that much better in that short amount of time.